Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Orion Now. I'm Chris Barnett, Orion Township Supervisor, and thank you for joining me today. Orion Now is a regular update of community happenings, from businesses opening in our community, special events, and everything in between. This is the place to stay up to date on what's going on in our community. And today is no exception. Today I have special guests joining me from the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as Aaron Watley, Orion Township Parks Director. Stay tuned for this episode of Orion Now. Thanks again for joining us. Before I welcome our first guest, I want to give you a quick insight into some exciting happenings in and around our community. First off, you may be aware that we experienced a flood at our community center on February 14th. Although it was a major setback for us, I'm pleased to announce that we appear to be way ahead of schedule. We've been telling people, based on our contractor's feedback, that the building will be open to the public July 1st. It appears that we will be way ahead of schedule, so stay tuned for more updates on our community center. Also, another interesting thing that has been happening in our community is we are becoming the capital of the 5K run. Just over the course of a few weeks, we will have 5 different 5K runs happening in our community. Those include the North Oakland Community Coalition Color Run, our own Dragon Dash, the Run Over Addiction, which happens through Guest House, as well as 2 other 5Ks that help support local charities. So there's no excuse for you to sit on your couch and not get out and enjoy some of our great parks and trails. And lastly, my job as supervisor changes every day. I try to do the best I can to help the residents with their issues and their complaints. And one issue I've gotten more complaints about than anything else are those papers that show up in your driveways on Sunday morning. Well, we tried to take action to help assist in getting those papers to not show up in the driveways where people don't want them. And in response to that, we were sued by the Detroit Free Press, which in my opinion is a very frivolous and bullying lawsuit. So, very interesting issue that's happening in our community, and I'm sure we will talk about it more as I'm able to, probably even do an episode of Orion Now, so stay tuned for that. But now I'd like to introduce my first guest today, Mr. Brian Burney and Kim Urbanowski of the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce. Brian and Kim, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So Kim, you are the newly appointed Executive Director of the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And Brian, you are the President, El Presidente.
I am.
So thank you for joining me. And first, before we kind of dive into all the great things happening with our chamber, tell me a little bit about yourself, Kim, and how you found your way to become the Executive Director.
Well, actually, I found it on your page, to be honest with you. But I've been in Lake Orion for about 20 years. I have a 23-year-old who graduated from LOHS in 2011. Then I have 2 other daughters who are at Scripps Middle School now, so I've been in the area for a while. I owned a business here. I was part of the chamber at that time. It was a little bit different than it is now.
What was the business?
It was called Urban Gourmet.
Okay.
And it was in the complex where Oscar's is. I was there for about 2 years. That was a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience. And the really nice part about having this job now is reconnecting with people that I knew from back then. But I saw the job opening on your Facebook page, actually, the supervisor Facebook page, and I thought I would give it a shot. So, I really love this town. I feel good about the people in it. I feel good about my kids growing up here, and I just wanted to be a little bit more involved in the community, and it's been great so far.
Very cool. So, Brian, tell me about, I know about you, but tell our audience a little bit about you and your position within the chamber.
Sure. I own my own company called The Burney Directive. We do marketing, social media, web design, just basically anything from a promotional standpoint that businesses need. I'm a 2-time term president for the chamber. Love every second of it. Great group of people, great board, lots of activities. Kim's doing an awesome job. We didn't miss a beat, so it's been really nice to be able to provide all of these things to our local businesses. So we've got a lot more to come, which I'm sure we'll be talking about.
Very cool. So Kim, you are still pretty new. Is it a couple months now, has it been?
I think this is the end of my 2nd month, yes. Still
and
a little
she's still here, so that's good, Brian.
Yes, she is.
I can tell you that Elena Campbell did a phenomenal job for, I think, 6 years she was with the chamber. And so I also sit on the chamber board. And we talked internally how difficult it was going to be to try to find someone with the energy, the enthusiasm, the love of our community, and a champion for local business like Elena was. And having only been there for 2 short months, I will say personally that I think you have absolutely picked up the ball and are running as fast or maybe faster than Elena was. So, so thank you. Are you still enjoying it?
I really am. I really am. You know, we just had our expo last week, which was sort of, I make the joke that I've just had sort of the shortest pregnancy ever, because I walked into this new thing and then it happened very fast, and there it was, the expo. It was like having a baby really quickly. But it's over, and it was really successful, and we haven't stopped. You know, we haven't stopped at all. We have a lot of activities coming up. So.
Right. So congratulations on your baby. Brian, are you having any children right now?
No, not yet. No, who knows though?
So the expo, if you did not go, shame on you, because that's one of the biggest community event the Chamber puts on every year. But talk a little bit about what the expo is if people missed it, so they can make sure they get to it next year.
Well, the expo is held at the Lake Orion High School field house during parent-teacher conferences in the spring. And so that brings in a lot of people in general, about 1,000 people visiting. And we had, I would say close to 115, maybe even 120 vendors on the floor and up in the Sandwich Slam and Pizza Wars contest. But it's a way for our members to connect with the community. We do all of the promotion for that and bring in as many people as we can. We had a very successful one this time. A lot of really positive feedback, a lot of really interesting new members that we've heard a lot of good feedback on them as well. You know, Nude Products was one that's a new Nude. K-N-U-D-E. K-N-U-D-E, yes.
They actually had a sign that they were parading around the expo that said, "I got nude in Lake Orion."
They did that at the flower fair too.
There may or may not be a photo of me with that sign around my neck. I don't know.
No, it's just a lot of interesting new organizations and companies coming into the area, businesses, small businesses that have really unique sort of products or ideas or services, and I think they found a great audience at the expo. A lot of them were very excited to have that touch with the community that they may otherwise
Very
not
cool.
have
So springing from that, not only as a part of this show, Orion Now, I'm going to be including regular, what I'm going to call the business brief, kind of updates about what's happenings in the business world in Orion Township. But you're going to be launching a show here as well that you're going to be kind of highlighting some of these cool businesses, right?
I hope to, yes. Reviving, it's called the Shop Local Show. Going to hopefully highlight 2 or 3 of our member organizations and businesses on that show. So, you know, hopefully at our networking meetings we'll be able to hand out the opportunity to show up on those shows. But yeah.
So the Chamber of Commerce. Most communities, decent-sized communities, have chambers of commerce, and depending on where you're at, they get a variety of different responses when you talk to local business people about their Chamber of Commerce. They're not all good.
Yeah.
Some communities have great chambers and some don't. And I think, Brian, this is maybe a question for you. So you worked for a large company, who I'm sure you were involved in many chambers of commerce. Talk a little bit about your experience with our chamber, and I know you're biased because you live here and you're the president now, but because that's what I've heard. I've heard that feedback from new businesses that kind of put their arms up and say, I don't know. I didn't always have a great experience with this Chamber of Commerce someplace else. I don't know if I want to get involved. And then I talk to those same people a few months later and they can't say good things about the work we do. So talk a little bit about that and what you've seen out there and why you think we're a little bit different.
Sure. You know, typically most chambers, they are what I call forced fun. You know, it's not that great. You know, you just do it, you go through the motions. It's a lot of grip and grin and exchange, you know, business cards and have a cup of coffee, and then everyone scurries back to their office. But I think what we do a really good job in is having a diverse plate of offerings to all of our members. Whether you're a big business or a small business, there really is opportunity for you to get out there and to build your brand, to build your customer base. We do a good job of, you know, having a lot of fun too. You know, people always say it's fun, but it's usually the forced fun. But I can honestly say that people have a great time at our events. And we try to keep it fresh. We try to keep it, motivating to keep coming back for more. So, we have the Shop Local Expo. We have the Healthy Body, Healthy Mind Expo coming up in September. It'll be its second year. That was a huge success for a first-year event. So we're looking at, making it even better for this year. We have our Thirsty Thursday events. We have a golf outing coming up at Paint Creek on July 18th. And then we have our regular meetings, our luncheons, our breakfasts. So we try to keep it fresh. We try to keep ourselves motivated to keep things going, to make things different, to appeal to different businesses. Because, you may have someone working in a coffee shop that can't get to your breakfasts, or someone that works late that can't get to your social events, or, someone that's just too busy in the middle of the day. But you have to give those offerings for those members to make it worth their while. You had mentioned coming from the corporate setting. I can tell you, I was Crittenton Hospital, and I was a member of 6 different chambers. And besides the chamber of the city we were in, Orion was the one I would always go to. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to move here, is because it was such a vibrant community and we had such a good time with it. And I knew that was a place that I could call home and raise my family. So it even brings people that don't own their own businesses, and that's really where I launched my own business, was when I moved here. So again, I think we just do a really good job, and we do have an active network of ambassadors and board members and members themselves that are passionate about the community and just want to see everything move in the right direction.
Very well said. And I think that's one of the reasons I think we find so much success is just the totally. There's such a wide variety of options for people, whether their business is really fueled by networking. They might be more into the lunches and the Thirsty Thursdays, one of my favorites.
Mine too.
Or they're looking for something more specific, and that we provide that too. The one thing that neither of you mentioned yet is the project that we started based on our growth boom around here the last couple of years, which is the Welcome Bag Project. Talk a little bit about that, Kim.
Yeah, we just launched the next cycle of the Welcome Bags, and we're asking businesses to put their information, literature or some sort of promotional item, because we hand those bags out to new community members. Generally give them to homeowners associations, to the township offices for new people that are coming in, to sort of give. A lot of times when people come into a new place, a new town, the first place that they call to find their doctor, their dentist, their information about whatever they might need, they call the chamber. So this is a really great way to put all of that information into one bag and hand it to them and welcome them to the neighborhood. Hey, glad you're here. Here's all the good stuff. So businesses we have 500 bags this year. Businesses can put their stuff in there and we hand it out for them.
Very cool. And I can tell you, I'm very selfish with my time sometimes, and because I have to be. And that bag saves me a lot of time, because we have people that come into our office all the time that have just moved here and are asking questions, and it's one really great resource we can hand them. And they can walk out of the door with a lot of pretty much any contact information they need for any service they would want to have. And it's like you've given them this some huge treasure. They walk out and it's so funny, we joke, because they usually aren't even out of the lobby before they're tearing it open to see what goodies are in there, and there's a lot of great things in there. It's a great resource. So you've kind of highlighted what the chamber does. Who should join the chamber? Who should be a member of the chamber? And roughly we have how many members now?
Close to 400.
Oh yeah, we're super close to 400.
That was our goal. So, and that's a huge increase too.
It is. So 400 members,
yes.
And they range from big businesses all the way down to people that have their own home business.
Correct.
And even better than that, we have a lot of young members, our aspiring entrepreneurs. We have a lot of, we're doing a ribbon cutting coming up at Cracked, actually. He's one of our younger members as well. Individuals can join, but the great thing about some of the chamber events as well is that you don't have to be a member to come. You can also come as a non-member to see what we're like first before you join. But just about anybody. I mean, we've got nonprofits, we've got political candidates, we've got individuals.
Well, and I just sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But one thing I think to say here is, we've changed the way we've approached membership and sponsorship to accommodate all those different people. So you asked the question of who should join. I mean, really anyone could join. It's not, you don't always have to have, a customer or seeking customers to join. I mean, again, with political campaigns, we've put together sponsorship packages that basically is a turnkey marketing campaign for local businesses, anywhere from social media to digital marketing to print, to basically any kind of way you want to promote yourself. In this day and age, we can offer that to you. Now there's packages from elite membership all the way down to just basic membership and everything in between. But I think it's a great way for anybody that's trying to make a name for themselves or build their brand to join, and we'll be able to help them do that. And that's what it's really all about. And I think the best thing about that, especially from a social media standpoint, is how supportive our members are. That the second something goes out, I mean, you're getting shares all over the place. People are commenting, liking. So that's, I mean, that viral reach that we can provide to people, I think, is second to none.
Right.
Great. Well, before we wrap this segment, I want to ask two more questions. One, you guys are located, your office is right downtown Lake Orion.
Yes, it is, on Shadbolt.
On Shadbolt. So if anyone is interested from watching this segment, I like the personal touch. You're there during the week. Stop in and visit.
Yes.
Or obviously a very robust website with all this information you guys have already discussed. And you mentioned political campaigns. So rumor has it you might be having one of your own here.
I am. I'm running for Orion Township trustee.
Very cool, very cool. So you're running for a seat to sit on our board.
Correct.
And so what compelled you to do that? And why are you doing this?
Well, you know, I mean, simply put, I chose to move here. I chose to raise my family here. I grew up in a great town, but a lot of people say, hey, I grew up here, I've been here for 48 years or 20 years or 15 years. I haven't been here that long, but I chose to move here. And I think that says something about somebody that wants to give back so quickly. And it's because of that. It's because of the community aspect, and it's because of the relationships I built, and my neighbors and my business associates and the chamber and all the good people that live here. I feel compelled to be able to take a step in the right direction and give back. And also, I think I'm good at decision making, and I'm good at steering people in the right direction and causes in the right direction. I think I can be a good asset to the township. So.
Very cool.
I'm excited.
Well, and that's one thing I've gotten to know you over the last few years, and you absolutely have rolled up your sleeves and jumped into just about anything you could jump in. And I'm thrilled for the prospect of you serving on our board and giving back to our community. So thank you for stepping up.
I appreciate that.
I know that political campaigns aren't always easy and not always fun, but we'll look forward to seeing you out there this summer.
Great.
So as a segue, speaking of new members, when we come back, we are going to be on scene at one of our newest members, Bad Brad's Barbecue. Stay tuned. We are on scene at one of the most anticipated restaurants probably to ever open up in Orion Township, Michigan. We're here at Bad Brad's Orion, and I'm here with the owner, Mike Pollard. Mike, welcome to Orion.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So thrilled. My wardrobe is happy to have you as well, and everybody I buy clothes from, because I think I'll be buying larger sizes.
All right, well. Sorry, you're welcome. I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right, cool. So anyway, Mike, this is a huge success, not only for our community, but for Bad Brad's.
Yeah.
This is not your first location. Talk to me a little bit about the history of Bad Brad's, where you've been so far.
Bad Brad's started in New Baltimore, Michigan, 2009. Small little building with the idea of just two simple things. Great experience for the guests and some serious barbecue. And that's always been the focus, honestly, from through the whole growth process. The bigger we get, I just remember those two things. It has to be an amazing experience for the guests, and it has to be amazing food. And those are the two things we focus on. No matter how big we get, it always comes down to those two things.
Cool. Awesome. So that's perfect. I'm going to ask you questions on both those things, your mission. So first of all, the amazing experience for the guests. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've received since November, how soon before Bad Brad's opened, and it kept getting pushed back. And so tell me a little bit about the build out in this place, and that's why it took a little longer, right? Because the TLC that you put into this building.
You know, we started July of 2015. We broke ground. Anytime you're building a restaurant from the ground up, it's a time consuming. But then when you throw in all the details that we have here at Bad Brad's, it's just a ton of work. I'll go over a few of those things. For example, the barnwood, 35,000 board feet of barnwood, which is the equivalent of 6.5 miles of end-to-end wood. It doesn't come in looking like this at all, so there's a ton of work behind every board. I mean, that each board gets touched 5 different times before it hits the ceiling. So as you know, you've been here, you look around, just tons of detail. We call this a design build, so we basically have a general idea what it's going to look like. But I designed and I built this place myself with help from a lot of talented tradesmen. But it's, like I said, a design build, so there's a ton of what we're going to do here. I'm the crazy guy who sits there and goes, I want that brick right there, and I don't want that board there, I want it there. So a lot of that, it's just time consuming, but I thought we did well. We wrapped up construction and it was probably late February, early March, but then once you get through construction phase, now you have to hire 100 to 150 people and get them ready for Bad Brad's. And Bad Brad's has some pretty intensive training. Some of the things that we do here, all our servers, for example, have to go through, they have to pass a 50-question test before they even move on to phase 2 of getting hired. So we send them home with training material. If they show me that they want the job, that they retain information well, we move on to the next phase of training. So you can imagine the task there of getting all those people ready for a high volume restaurant. Quite a bit of work.
Very cool. It's a boot camp, I hear, and I know some people that have gone through that. It's not an easy test. It's the real deal. So the cool thing is it's like you said, it's going to be a great experience for your guests because you have well-trained, well-educated servers, right?
One of the things I'm most proud of to this point is obviously we have an amazing staff. These guys are all kicking butt. But how many times we've heard, I expected to have some hiccups, but this is your third day, and I feel you guys have been open for a year. It was 4 weeks of training, of real live training. You saw some of the training yourself. It's just a ton of game day training. Not you can read about barbecue, we can talk about barbecue, but until you get in those situations, you really don't get the experience necessary to be successful in a busy restaurant. So, tons of work, but the people at Orion are sharp. We got a lot of local people, and everybody's doing really, really well, so we're happy to have them.
That's cool. I was at a lunch today, unfortunately not here, in a different community with 19 other township supervisors, and the topic of conversation is, hey, you guys got that new barbecue restaurant that just opened, right? So you're making a big impact in the whole county.
Yep.
So obviously, the architectural details are probably the coolest I've ever seen in a restaurant, built from scratch. This is really cool. Tell us a little bit about the outside, and what is that big thing sitting up on Baldwin Road?
We're in the Gingiville district of Orion Township, and one of the requirements, as you know, is we have to have some type of statue or something like that out by the sidewalk. So we came up with a few ideas, but I wasn't really crazy about them. And then a gentleman by the name of Ron Finch, a local artist, showed up here one day. We started talking, and we decided to have him build us a pig. Had no idea what this thing was going to look like at all. It's kind of a handshake deal. I said, just hey, come up with something. I showed up there about a month later, and Chris P. Bacon was up right in his basement, and I was just blown away. Awesome. Talented guy. Impressed. He did the pig by the road, and he also did a warthog by the front door. Pretty happy with his stuff.
So Chris P. Bacon is now an official resident of Orion Township, and so we talked a lot about this building. And the nice thing is you're going to wait when you come here. Unless you come at 3:30 in the afternoon, which it is about right now, this is a good time to come eat if you don't want to wait. But other than that, you're going to be on a dinner rush every night, right?
More than likely. For a while, we just opened, so we're the place to be, and that will probably continue for a while. But when we built this thing, it was really geared for comfort. I could probably shove in 15 more tables in here to cram them in, but we've never done that at Bad Brad's. The goal has always been, like I said, the guest experience and the quality of the food. That's what keeps people coming back. So if you look around here, you can see that I could probably shove in a bunch more tables, but we decided not to do that. And I believe it creates a more comfortable experience for everybody. And it's not that big of a restaurant. We only have 125 seats, and people show up, we get busy, and that's just part of the restaurant experience. And I believe that works for us and against us, honestly. It works for us because we're doing a good job, but it works against us because people say, hey, I don't want to go there because it's busy and I don't want to wait. I get it, nobody wants to wait. But I always tell people, I promise you will not be disappointed. And we train our staff on that, is that if somebody waits an hour to eat, we have to be on our game. But absolutely on our game, because if we're not, we're going to lose those people because they've already waited an hour, and it's a lot to ask. And
so the nice thing is there's a lot of cool things to look at while you're waiting. You can look at Crispy, you can look at the Warthog. Does he have a name yet?
I don't know. I don't believe the Warthog. Ron Finch named Crispy Bacon. He came up with that name. I'm not big into naming stuff, but Well, I'm sure it'll happen eventually. I'll keep you posted.
Well, listen, we touched on the guest experience.
Yeah.
The one thing you didn't talk much about was the food.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, the bacon. Look, it's staring at us right now. The bacon is unbelievable. It's pig candy is what we call it, right?
It is called pig candy, and that's something that I came across. We do a lot of traveling and a lot of just research and coming up with different ideas. I get a lot of inspiration just from going out and seeing other stuff. And something we came across probably about four years ago. And basically what pig candy is just, first of all, every ingredient in bad bread is extremely high quality ingredients. Everything that we do here is the best possible ingredients. I have a fine dining background. A lot of our staff has a fine dining background. So we've taken those same techniques and principles for food and service and just apply them towards a barbecue restaurant. So goal number one is get great ingredients. And there's a prime example of that. That's probably the best bacon you can possibly get. And then at that point, we marinate it in white sugar with a bit of chipotle powder overnight. We take it out of there and we cook it in the smoke. So now you have sweet, savory, smoky bacon goodness. It's pretty awesome. It's probably our most popular appetizer. In fact, we ran a report to see how many we sold. We sold almost 700 of those things in the first week. So it's a very, very popular appetizer.
And I may or may not have been here nearly every day the first week. Listen,
you may or may not have had some bacon also. So.
Listen, as in my role as township supervisor, I can't thank you enough for your investment in our community. Not just your personal investment, but all the jobs you're creating for all the young people in our community, and just another awesome place, putting us on the map as a true destination town. So thanks for your commitment to our community. Look forward to you serving our community for many years to come. We might even get you to move out here one day.
I wouldn't mind that. That Lake Orion area is a pretty cool area.
It is. We got a spot for you on the lake.
But I just wanted to say that your team. I mean, I've had nothing but an amazing experience with every single member on your staff. From the building, from Randy to Tim to every one of those building inspectors, and just awesome guys. Everybody's been very helpful. And can't say enough about how they handled everything. We had a couple bumps in the road, but they were always really cool to deal with. So shout out to those guys.
Very cool. Thank you for that. And listen, your homework is to get here and get some food, try it out, say hi to Mike. He's the boss here. Tell him about your experience. I'm sure he wants to hear. And join me when we come back. We'll be sitting down with Aaron Wiley to get a really neat update on what's happening in our parks. See you soon. All right, we're back for our last segment. And wow, the barbecue is as good as it looks. Right now I'm joined by Aaron Watley, our Parks Director for Orion Township. Aaron, thanks for being here today. I'm really glad you're on. You've got a lot of great stuff going on in your department, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I'm going to talk to you about a couple things today. First off, how long have you been the Parks Director?
Roughly 2.5 years.
Okay, cool. Are you enjoying it?
I love it.
It'd be awkward if you said you weren't because I'm your boss.
I love it. I've been with the township for almost 5 years, and so it's great to transition through.
Right. So under your leadership of that department, amazing things are happening. I want you to talk a little bit about them. But first, just give me a quick update. We just experienced our first annual community green up. Yep. Just give me a little update on how that went.
It was fantastic. We had great turnout from the community members, local businesses, a lot of support. The Environmental Resource Committee, we had a young student at the Lake Orion High School. It was her idea that came up with it, and the community rallied around it. Everybody came together. We had over 100 volunteers, multiple businesses spread out throughout the whole community this past Saturday, cleaning up.
It was really, really cool. And it was an amazing first-year event, and it really gave us a springboard to make this event even bigger and better going forward, just to make our community a greener and a cleaner place. So
absolutely. Thanks
for your efforts on that. Now I want to spend the next few minutes with you just talking about some of the things you have going on in our parks and in our community. So we recently approved and we received a grant to do something pretty cool out at Friendship Park. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, the township received a $100,000 Land Water Conservation Fund grant. It's been an ongoing process, but we finally will hopefully begin the construction in the near couple months. So,
and what are we doing out there?
2 of the ball fields will be lit, which will increase the playtime for our youth sports, adult leagues. It'll be a great opportunity for people. So.
And if there's one thing we hear more than anything is that we need more ball fields. We need more time to play. That with the proliferation of every student seems like they're on a different travel team now. Mm-hmm. They all want part of our fields, right?
very, very busy, nonstop, every day, every night. So.
And on the baseball front, we've got a couple more fields being constructed in the southeast part of town, right?
Yeah, and so Jesse Decker, we have one existing field, and 2 more additional Little League baseball fields are being built out there.
Very cool. When do we anticipate those will be able to be used?
We're hoping by midsummer, so hopefully by the fall season.
Okay. Now, one of my favorite spots in town that I still think is probably one of our greatest hidden gems is Wildwood Amphitheater. And you have really taken the bull by the horns and started running with a bunch of ideas and projects out there. So what's going on at Wildwood this year?
Well, the board has approved to build a restroom and concession stand up on top of the hill, and that is almost there. Within the next month, we'll have that open and ready to go. We have 4 movie sessions during the summer. 3 of those will be free. One of the other ones will be a donation to help build the Let Them Play playground, keep improving it. We have some really great concerts coming up, fundraisers, scholarships, churches from across the state that want to have groups out here. It's just exactly what they say. You build it, they'll come, and they have been. It's been nonstop. It's a great venue. We're very excited. So
the movie screen is taller than the amphitheater.
it's 32 feet wide and 28 feet tall.
It's awesome.
It's huge.
So my vision and my dream would be to see that hill filled with families on family movie night. And there are 4 of those this year, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, so then that's my new favorite spot, but very close behind that is our newly acquired Camp Agawam.
Yes.
143 acres of paradise. What do you have going on at Camp Agawam?
It's rented almost every single week. We have local Boy Scout troops that use it. Some weddings that'll be coming up this summer. We're working on a couple festivals out there. So if you're looking for a place to go for the weekend, bring your kids, come out to Agawam, go camping, do some fishing, go swimming, go for a hike. A lot of great things. If you're looking for volunteer projects, let us know. We have tons. It's a great place to be.
That's really cool. And I would just tell the residents that are watching this, if you haven't experienced Wildwood or Camp Agawam, you're missing out. They are at Camp Agawam. You can go out there and you feel like you're in the Upper Peninsula and parts of that park, and you're right in the middle of Lake Orion, Michigan. Yep. You know, one of the complaints that comes across my office when we talk about complaints is the fact that there is a lot of growth happening in our community. And the first time I hear that from someone, I ask them if they've recently visited Bald Mountain Recreation Area or Camp Agawam, and a lot of times we find people have never even set foot in either of those. There are so many amenities here for people if they want to just recreate, right?
Absolutely. The community is lush with green, so
Right.
Plenty of park space.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap?
Just everybody get out this summer. Like I said, a lot of park space, a lot of green space, so get out, enjoy it, don't stay inside, and have fun.
So here's my challenge to you. The Orion Township Summer Bucket List. Hit all 4 of our township parks with your kids, with your family, or by yourself. Bike the 2 trails or walk or run them. Take your dog to the Bark Park. Visit Bald Mountain Recreation Area. And then come to me and complain about the fact that there's not enough recreation. Anyway, Aaron, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the amazing work you're doing in our community for parks and recreation. And please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And with that ends this week's episode of Orion Now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your continued support. And get out there and enjoy Orion Township.